Hey everybody, it's the coach, and this is Madden 19 on EA Sports. Up next, we've got what should be a great matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. With that, let's get on over to AT&T Stadium in Arlington for the call from Jerry World. Here are Brandon Godden and Charles Davis.
Coach, EA Sports coverage of the NFL brings us to the Lone Star State and the very mammoth AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. The scene a few moments ago, here it is. It's unlike any other in sport as both teams made their way out of the tunnel. These folks are fired up as their guys are ready to do battle between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. Hello again, everyone. I'm Brandon Godden, joined as always by Charles Davis. And Charles, you take a look at this Cowboy team entering play. They come off a disappointment last time out that put an end to their modest 3-game win streak. Meanwhile, for our visitors, the Eagles, they've certainly found their groove of late, winners of 5 in a row.
And I think the sky's the limit for this team. They're playing the best football that they've played in a long time.
It's a tradition that began in 1966, and off we go on a Thanksgiving afternoon in Dallas. Here comes Montgomery now to return it. So now here comes the Eagles offense as they get ready to take over. As we get a peek at the number 2 overall pick from the 2016 draft, standing at 6'5", Carson Wentz.
And he ought to have a lot of pep in his step after last week's performance because he did exactly as you want him to play if you're a coach. 3 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions, which usually means you're making a lot of right decisions out there.
And got him to win. Throwing on first is and complete to Zach Ertz. And he's brought down after a very nice gain. And a nice gain at 21 yards.
I do believe we'll see a little bit more of this as this game progresses because when you can have that type of a gain in the middle of the defense, it hurts them in so many ways because most teams like to be strong down the middle. And if you can sting them there, that'll open things up for you on the outside as well.
That's where their big tight end, is so good. That middle third, the seam routes, the end routes. Yeah, you're right. Probably see more of that.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage and fortitude to go in the middle as well. And he's got it. Defensively here, you're facing a top 5 team in terms of points scored in the NFL. So when they're that high powered, you've got to find a way to hold them under 20, because to me, that's the magic number. 20-point score, you give yourself your best chance to win.
So if they're up around 24, 28, 30, they could be in some trouble.
And I think so, because then you turn it into a shootout, and that means your offense has to keep pace.
How did he stay on his feet? The numbers for him from a week ago: 4 catches, 73 yards.
And I get the feeling that he loves this matchup. I mean, the unit he's going against is in the bottom half of the league against the pass. He had to have circled this one on the schedule and said to himself, this should be a big game.
To throw is Wentz. Ertz has it left side. And inside the 20 before he's brought down. 17 more yards on that one as they keep the drive rolling.
Well, I know from past experience, before you actually play a game, you visualize what's going to happen. And I don't know anyone who doesn't visualize themselves being in the center of what's going on. That's 3 catches for him here in the early going. He's got to like the way this is started.
Absolutely. 3 catches on any drive is good. Opening drive, that's a tone setter. And stopped a few yards shy of the goal line at the 3. 15 more there, and they're on a roll. It's another first down. And they better put that ball to the side because with that catch, he's a new single-season receiving yards record holder.
What a fantastic year. And we saw it start early, didn't we, partner? Right out of the gate, we knew he was going to have a tremendous year, but who knew it would culminate in breaking this all-time record.
And he's going to get this back to the 3-yard line and no further. They'll say no gain on the play, and it'll be 2nd and goal.
He has elite instincts from his linebacker spot. He's able to diagnose the run and flies in like a missile to stop that one behind the line of scrimmage.
On 2nd and goal, Ajayi, the lone man in the backfield. Throwing now is Wentz. This is taken in by Jeffrey. He's got it. Touchdown, Eagles. Alshon Jeffrey from 3 yards out. And the Eagles drive right down the field and score on the opening drive. Elliott good with a PAT. And that makes the score 7-0. Elliott now to kick this one away. And they will not get a chance to return this one as it's through the end zone for a touchback. So here the Cowboys now ready to go on offense for the first time. It's the Mississippi State product at quarterback. Calling the shots will be Dak Prescott.
He had the numbers of a game last week that if you win, you talk about him being a gritty guy, managing the game, getting it done. But they lost. So obviously 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown pass, that's not going to be good enough. Got to get that changed around.
So Prescott and the Cowboys now with a 1st and 10 at their 25-yard line. Now the first carry for Ezekiel Elliott. And he's taken down but able to slip across the 35. The numbers for Zeke from last week, 76 yards.
And even though it's a short week, running backs love when they're in a groove, and that's exactly where he is right now. He's hoping to feast a little bit more here on Thanksgiving.
They keep on the ground with Elliott. And unable to get downhill there as he'll take this up to about the 37. Fletcher Cox there for the tackle.
They tried a quick hitter inside, but that one was swallowed up because what they're hoping, those big defensive linemen will take the bait and move laterally and open up a crease that they can run through. Didn't happen on that play.
And he's got it up over the 40 to the 41. Timmy Jernigan, the Florida State man, in on the stop.
One thing to keep in mind, partner, especially in the second half, when you've got a running back of this size, of these dimensions, I can just tell you, attrition does set in for a defense because you're excited about hitting him in the first half.
And the ball is knocked out, and the Eagles have recovered.
The psychology of the game never ceases to amaze me because you would think there would never be a fumble from what we hear from coaches all the time, right?
And how much they practice not fumbling.
Practice it, preach it, talk about it all the time. You would think no one would ever turn it over. Yet they are humans out there running around, and we just saw another one.
Opportunistic by the defense. Here's a handoff to Ajayi to begin the drive. And he showcases the spin, a pretty good gain before he's taken down. That one good for 10 yards. And that'll make it 2nd and a foot or so.
On any explosive run, you can almost feel the ground shaking, and that's from the offensive linemen creating space for their runners. I had an old coach tell me before, they always told his runners, run around the offensive line in pregame. Get used to the ground shaking so you don't trip and fall when it happens in a game.
20. Touchdown, Philadelphia. Jay Ajayi, touchdown number 22 on the season. And the Eagles are able to strike quickly for 6.
Brandon, my man, just one sentence for that one. Clinic.
And that's what they've done. They lead the league in points per game this season, but it's been quick strikeability as we saw on that drive.
I think they're actually intimidating defenses because they're back on their heels right away, wondering where it's going to come from, how they're going to hit them. This group is well organized, well coached, and extremely confident in what they do.
And this will not be returnable. It's out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. And now Dallas gets set to take the field. Already down 2 touchdowns here in the first half. This becomes a pretty important drive, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and a lot of teams script plays. We know that, right? They have a script to start the ball game, and typically those scripts go between 12 and 24, 25 plays. Down 2 touchdowns early, probably not very deep into their script. I think that they'll stay with it. I don't think they'll abandon it just yet and try and generate some offense on this drive.
Anything. At least 3 points, get that 0 off the board. Prescott to throw it. James has got it. Complete. The ball comes out, and the Eagles have recovered.
Whenever I see a team turn it over on back-to-back drives, fumbles is starting to rise, and that's
to go down when they stop fumbling.
When they stop fumbling and after he's assessed the game film, and only if they manage to win the game.
Now it's Ajayi, and he'll take it inside the 40 to the 39-yard line. And credit the tackle to Taco Charlton with a stop.
What's the old expression, 3 yards in a cloud of dust? In this case, it's dust-covered pellets. It's no longer that old grass that we used to play on, right, and chew it up. Now we've got that artificial surface. You see the pellets go up. Still a nice play by the defense.